Please feel free to adjust the playback speed to 1.25 or 1.5 depending on your preference.
Elsewhere, our boy is out in the wilderness and is ready for a job change quest. When he accepts the request, a mysterious gate appears. He wonders what kind of monsters await him inside that gate. He enters to experience new things. He is confronted by a remarkably large knight with an impressively sturdy build. Even though our boy appears to be quicker, his attacks aren't getting through the enemy's defense. He realizes that the knight isn't that strong, but what makes him a tough opponent is his armor. It's too thick for his dagger to penetrate. The knight's attacks don't have much force, and his movements are also dull. However, its defense is practically impeccable. Jin-Woo already had enough experience against an opponent whose armor was so thick that even his dagger didn't work. During his fight with Risaka, he crushed the monster with his bare hands and now plans to use the same technique to overpower this one. Jin-Woo plucks off its armor pieces, and since it's just an empty body of tin, the knight falls to the hunter's aggression. This type of monster is weak against drawn-out battles. He wonders if he can even call it a proper monster. Since Jin-Woo is using a torch instead of a luminous stone, the dungeon is pretty dark. Like an instant dungeon, he can't exit until he clears it, so he has to conserve as much as possible. Moreover, he can't access his potion inventory or the shop, and upon leveling up, he does not receive status healing. Stealth and Vital Strike have good efficiency, but they also consume a lot of mana. Inside, he thinks that if he knew something like this would happen, he would have invested some points into intelligence. The dungeon is too risky. The difficulty is unknown, and he has to do it without healing or retreating. He feels that he shouldn't underestimate the job change quest. Moreover, he doesn't know how many days, or maybe weeks, it could take him to clear it. Jin-Woo suddenly remembers that he hasn't done his daily quest because he thought this would be over quickly. He has to finish the job change quest within 12 hours. Otherwise, he might become prey to the centipede like last time. Considering the danger and other risks of the dungeon, he concludes that hurriedly completing the quest could increase the odds of his survival. He wonders if he could beat the centipede, even though last time he ran away like hell. But before that, he has to take care of the knights who rely solely on their defense. Jin-Woo drops his torch and sets about slaying the knights. With the brilliance of his brute strength, Jin-Woo manages to knock out multiple opponents within a few seconds. Jin-Woo notices that some knights drop decent items. He finds a pouch made to carry money and a high knight's chest plate, a B-class item that reduces physical damage by 7%, though it slows movement speed if strength is below 80. He is glad that the armor-type items don't force him to show their designs. Otherwise, if someone looked at him, he would become a laughingstock. He wonders if it would protect him even if it manifested in reality. The leather pouch contains 30,000 gold coins. This new amount adds to the total, and the gold coins he has accumulated are now nearly 900,000. At that moment, he senses a sinister aura and uses his dagger to stab an invisible monster that becomes visible once defeated. He is startled to learn that there are even monsters who can use stealth. He is once again ambushed, this time by a mage that uses blaze magic. So far, he has seen a monster that uses stealth and a magic-type monster that specializes in the same magic Yuan used. Confused, he questions what is happening. It feels like a replay of last time. Since there are diverse types of monsters, he plans on utilizing different stats for each of them: strength for knights, sense for assassins, agility for archers, and vitality for mages. If he drops points from strength, he can't break the knight's armor. And if he has low sense, he has to deal with a lot of trouble from assassins. Because he didn't put any points into intelligence, he thinks of saving as much mana as possible and stops using skills altogether. His fatigue is also accumulating. The longer this goes on, the worse it gets for him. He closes his eyes for a while to lower his fatigue and is once again ambushed by a bunch of archers. Sometime later, he acquires another set of great items. These include a water bottle filled with lukewarm water and another leather pouch. He has leveled up quite a bit and gathered a lot of items. And since he has lowered his fatigue, he decides to head to the next stage. At the moment, he is equipped with the Warden's Necklace, High Knight's Chest Plate, High Knight's Gauntlet, Archer's Gloves, High Mage's Ring, and Assassin's Boots. Even after leveling up this much, he still can't comprehend the skill of the monster behind the massive door before him. It's a boss room, where dwells a monster that could send chills down his spine. Jin-Woo forces the door open and sees a king's throne room at the far side of the chamber. He is familiar with the sensation he's feeling in his eyes, ears, and fingertips. It's the same as in the double dungeon. This chilly feeling is coming from the monster before him. Jin-Woo's opponent has a dark red name. It's different from the others. The dungeon boss is a knight who protects the empty throne. As soon as the monster sees the hunter, it advances from slowly taking a step to charging rapidly. The monster approaches the hunter, aiming to obliterate him. Our boy barely manages to dodge Igris's attack, but the impact of the knight's sheer power cuts through the pillars like tofu. Our boy attempts to penetrate its skin with his dagger but fails to do so. After this, he is cornered for a good amount of time, but he still manages to get out of its reach. The armor speed reduction is only applied if the hunter's strength is below 80, but he's facing a threat that has strength over 80. Its destructiveness and agility are higher than Jin-Woo's. Its armor can block his dagger, which means its defense is probably higher, too. He wonders if there is even a way to beat it. He believes that he has a higher chance of winning if he is unequipped. Now that he is unequipped, he fears that this could get even worse. Seeing the human before his eyes unequipping, the honorable knight upholds the value of chivalry and also unequips everything. Jin-Woo realizes that the knight isn't taking him seriously at all. In an instant, the knight leaps at him and hits him in the upper part of his chest, knocking the hunter off balance. Afterward, he grabs the guy from the hood of his jacket and throws him at a wall. Unfortunately, this doesn't end here, as the knight closes the distance in an instant and again punches Jin-Woo. Bro attempts to block it but is overpowered and buried deep into the wall. He manages to escape at the right time. Even though our boy blocked the hit from the knight, he still lost around 500 of his total health. It was thanks to his armor that he managed to come out alive. The knight is still insanely strong even without its sword. Jin-Woo wonders just how he should put up a decent fight against the monster. Although he's outclassed in strength, he still has his speed. He utilizes it to get closer to the opponent, though he doesn't succeed in getting past its defense. As he is about to pass through the monster's visual range, he gets elbowed by it. He then deflects it, and they continue to throw punches at each other, though none of them manages to successfully land a hit. But that doesn't stay like this for too long, as Jin-Woo again is hit by the knight, but this time it's in the head. The system activates the skill Perseverance, which reduces the damage taken by 50%. Jin-Woo feels that if his defense increases due to his passive skill, then he still has a chance. The hunter regains balance and kicks the knight in its head, but it doesn't make any change. Instead, it backfires. Since our boy is upside down in the air, the monster catches him by his leg and then punches him in that position, slamming him into the far wall. Ironically, becoming demolished by his opponent, he ends up falling on the king's throne. The knight sees a desperate Jin-Woo struggling to survive, one who is on the verge of collapsing and is about to give up. He summons his sword and aims to decapitate him. But our boy rises again as he blocks the knight's attack with the High Knight's gauntlet and remarks that he hasn't lost yet. In the critical moment, the hunter summons his dagger and gouges the monster's eye in a lucky moment. Following the damage inflicted on the knight, he then throws his sword, grabs the knight from his waist, and slams him into the concrete wall. The knight quickly recovers and removes the sword from his eye. Since Jin-Woo has no plans to hand his item over to anyone else, he steals it from the knight by calling it again. As the enemy is empty-handed now, the hunter clips him with his dagger. Despite his best efforts, his stab is still a bit shallow to mark a definitive killing strike. Our boy goes beyond his limits and retaliates by shoving the dagger into the knight's head. Jin-Woo slays Igris, the blood-red commander, against all odds, defeating an opponent way out of his league. He wonders if he really won the fight, because he wasn't better in any department: agility, technique, experience, or skill. It's pure luck that he managed to win. Even if he had made a slight mistake, he would have died. Comparing Igris's might to an A-rank hunter, Jin-Woo thinks the knight was clearly the better fighter in every realm. As for the rewards for slaying blood-red commander Igris, he receives 4 special items at once. One of the rewards is a leather pouch with 1.5 million gold coins. The total coins he has right now is approximately 3.1 million, so his gold coins doubled in an instant. Furthermore, an S-rank item, Red Knight's Helmet, is obtained. The helmet reduces physical damage by 15% and enhances the user's stamina and strength by an additional 20 points. This is the second time he has got his hands on a piece of S-rank equipment. The runestone was also an item included in the rewards. However, Jin-Woo is not sure what skills it contains. There's a hearthstone too, but he wonders why he received a hearthstone from the boss room. Perhaps this means that the quest is still not over yet. Having defeated the blood-red commander, Jin-Woo is expecting the teleportation stone to appear any moment now, until he faces a horrific realization. The daunting quest is yet to be finished. From his right appears a gate, causing Jin-Woo's attention to focus on the surrounding portals as well. The system informs him about the beginning of the job change quest, with him realizing just how much worse his situation is getting. The goal of this quest is to rack up as many points as possible during his run. These points will then decide his fate on advancing to a higher-ranked class. This means there's just no end to the monsters. It's a time attack for survival. Even the system is worried for this guy and says, "Good luck." The timer kicks in as an armored knight pops out of the portal. Despite the situation turning against his favor, Jin-Woo is confident that he can take them all down as long as they aren't on the same level as Igris. He has understood the goal of surviving for as long as humanly possible. That's the only way he'll increase his chances of placing in the higher class. The hunter is prepared to do whatever it takes. He calculates his odds, since he has only 390 mana points left. Using his stealth skill will cost him a staggering 200 points, but he'll still have nearly 200 as backup. To maintain the stealth skill, Jin-Woo's mana is consumed each second. That's why, at his peak, he will only be able to hide away for 3 minutes, delaying the timer as much as he can by 10. Not to mention, he's got his health intact and some mana points on the side. Jin-Woo is feeling confident in his ability to hold out. That is until his expectations are shattered when a mage activates the skill detection. A glowing eye of magic appears and instantly cuts past his stealth ability, causing Jin-Woo a great deal of trouble since he can no longer rely on his previous strategy. The knights sharply turn their attention to the now exposed warrior. They descend their weapons upon him while the hunter does his best to take them both down with his monstrous strength, sending them flying. Jin-Woo capitalizes on his speed while he activates his bloodlust skill. This causes a debuff on all of his opponents, reducing their stats to half for 60 seconds. Capitalizing on the 1 minute he has, Jin-Woo shoves a kick in one of the knight's faces and makes the best of the mana points he just spent. He bounces off from one knight to the next, crushing the knight army one by one. The horde of armed knights is endlessly teeming in the dungeon, aiming to overwhelm him.
We will finish this chapter here. Next chapter will be out soon, so stay tuned.